How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It helps out, means a ton. You guys get plenty of fun stuff, not just Jujutsu Kaisen. We cover plenty of manga on the channel, so stick around, check it out, see if anything else catches your interest. Anyway, getting on to the topic of today's video. Honestly, I think Yuji Itadori is technically innocent when it comes to this whole accused of committing mass murder in Shibuya on the 31st during the Shibuya incident. Yeah, we all know what Judge Man is talking about during this retrial. So, yeah, why? Okay, now first off, I should state that I am not gonna be, making a lawful, courtroom-style argument. I don't know how this would play out in a courtroom, considering he has another being inside of him that can take control of the body under certain circumstances, and yeah, I don't think we have a lot of legal precedent for that. I don't think that really exists. Maybe there's something out there that could kind of be connected in a similar way. I don't know. Anyway, initially I said it was kind of like somebody being unconscious on the ground, and somebody walks up, puts a gun in their hand, puts their finger over the trigger, and then pulls their finger to pull the trigger and shoots somebody with the gun in their unconscious hand. You couldn't really blame the person for pulling the trigger. They were unconscious. It wasn't even their gun. So, yeah, that was me saying Sukuna is in control of the body. Yuji is not in control of his body. Yuji is unconscious right now. Sukuna is putting a gun into Yuji's hand and making him pull the trigger and shoot a bunch of people. That was my first analogy. Somebody stated, and I don't know if I really think that negates my first analogy, but somebody brought up the idea of Yuji knowing the risk of having Sukuna inside of his body. He had that explained to him early on. He still refused execution and decided to live instead and try to collect the rest of these fingers. While this is a fair point to make, and I understand why a lot of people would think this technically makes Yuji guilty, because he knew the risk. He knew that if Sukuna was to take over his body, Sukuna would kill a lot of people. So that is basically Yuji knowing that it would happen and Yuji letting it happen, making him guilty. I am not okay with this line of thought for, well, I guess I don't know if it's a specific reason, but let me put it this way. Every single time you get behind the wheel of a car, you know there is a chance that it could kill somebody. Even if not that, somebody could get hurt. Every single time you drive a car, you know that there is a chance it could happen. Just because your car that is moving at speed with you behind the wheel collides with a human being, that does not mean you are guilty. There are a lot of other circumstances that could be at play. Let's put one like this. Let's say Sukuna is a passenger in Yuji's body, because he basically is. If you are driving alongside a crowded sidewalk and you have a passenger in your vehicle and that passenger randomly decides to reach over, grab the wheel, and yank it to the side, sending your car careening into a crowded sidewalk, killing a bunch of people. Are you guilty, or is your passenger guilty? Is Yuji guilty, or is Sukuna guilty? This is kind of how I look at this. Just because Yuji knew there was a possibility somebody could get hurt, just because you knew there was a possibility that getting in the car and driving meant somebody could get hurt, does not necessarily mean that you or Yuji are guilty. The person that caused the damage, the person that caused the murders, that is the person that I consider to be guilty. Now, this does throw up something a little bit strange, because Sukuna isn't his own person. He resides within Yuji's body. So to physically give out a punishment to the body that did it, yeah, you would have to punish Yuji. So yeah, it puts you in a weird spot, but that also does not mean that Yuji's guilty. Just because you would have to charge Yuji's physical body for what Sukuna did, that still means Sukuna is guilty. Yuji just gets the short end of the stick. That's kind of Yuji's thing, getting the short end of the stick. I mean, that's kind of how the series started. He got the short end of the stick. Shibuya incident, got the short end of the stick. Dealing with Mahito, kind of got the short end of the stick. Well, granted, Mahito's kind of gone now, so maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, another way you can take the car analogy is, even if you take the passenger out of the situation, you're the only one in the car. You are driving at full highway speeds, and somebody who was hiding behind a barrier jumps out in front of you, and you hit them. That is not your fault. You are not guilty of that action. That person did that. They are guilty of suicide? I don't know. That's not where we're going with this. It doesn't matter. Anyway, you are not guilty for that. You did not cause that. You knew that something could happen and somebody could get hurt because you were driving a vehicle, but you are not guilty. That's where I put Yuji right now. Yuji knew that there was a chance that Sukuna could hurt somebody if he was in control of Yuji's body, but Yuji, like you have control of a car, had and displayed very good control over Sukuna and his own body. Keep in mind, the reason Sukuna was able to go on this killing rampage is because somebody else force-fed Yuji's unconscious body a bunch of fingers. This was outside of Yuji's control from the onset. There was even outside help that allowed Sukuna to be able to do this. So Jogo is even partially responsible for this. If Jogo did not feed all of those fingers to Yuji, Sukuna would not have been able to take over his body for so long and cause so much damage and mass murder. These are not things that Yuji did. Just because Yuji knew there was a possibility doesn't mean he is guilty. It also does not mean he should have been executed at the beginning of the series. You also cannot take Jujutsu regulation into account here. Well, Jujutsu regulation said he was supposed to die because of it, and he didn't, so now he's guilty for it. Jujutsu regulation doesn't even hold up in a court of law, because up until very recently, the court of law didn't know Jujutsu was a thing. You can't go walking into a courtroom like, nah, Jujutsu regulation states. The judge is going to look at you like, what in the actual hell is Jujutsu regulation? Get out of my courtroom. Bailiff, please, take him and remove him. Domain, what? Wait, what is a domain expansion? Oh god! No, like, okay, yes. No, yeah, seriously, like, Jujutsu regulation does not hold up here in a legal matter of guilty or innocent. So, yeah, this is kind of just where I sit with this. Just because you know something is possible and could happen, and that thing does happen, does not mean you are guilty for causing that thing to happen. Just like being in a car, just like having a crazy, psychotic curse man in your body. Yeah, they're close enough. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.